When I talk about Satan's DNA, first of all, let me tell you what I'm not talking about. There is this teaching that Satan and Eve had relations, and that's sometimes called the seed of Satan. I don't believe that at all. I don't think that's the case. I don't think they ever had relations. I think Eve was faithful to her husband Adam, and that's that. But when the Bible talks about the seed in Genesis 3:15, I will cause enmity between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. Uh, that was a prediction of things to come. And again, it wasn't Satan and Eve having some weekend fling or something. But the seed of the woman found its culmination in the person of Jesus Christ. And Satan's seed will find its culmination in the person of the Antichrist. And when we look at the Nephilim back in Genesis chapter 6, we know that the sons of God, the fallen angels, came down, they took women, and they were able to have children by those women. So that is the beginning of the Nephilim program, the hybridization program. And so you literally had on planet Earth these creatures who were half demon and half human. So now it would seem that they had those children sort of in the old-fashioned way, that these angels were able to put off their spiritual body in some sense, and they were able to take on some kind of a fleshly body. We don't know the mechanics of how they did that. We're not told. We're just told that they were able to abandon their first estate, and that they were able to come here somehow. So we don't know how they did that. We don't know exactly what those bodies looked like. We don't know if they were made of carbon or if they were made of something else, but they worked, let's just say that. So when Satan he's going to eventually do it himself, where he's going to take his seed. What I mean by seed is not the reproductive fluid, let's call it that. I'm talking about information. Because, once we get past all of the externals of seed, if you just take a watermelon seed, for example, just take a good look at that thing. You might think that you're looking at what really counts. But it doesn't really count, because you can take off the kernel or the husk until you get to the kernel. The husk is a protective envelope. It's important, obviously. It's going to aid in the development of that seed. There's no question. But at the heart of it all is the information packet that's inside. That information packet is being stored in what we call a chromosome, and then inside the chromosome you have genes, and inside the genes you have DNA. DNA, we know, is a double helix. It's made up of nucleic acids, 4 of them, A, G, T, and C. But what's inside of those? Is it really these nucleic acids that are doing all the work, or is there something more? Well, it's really no different than your computer, your cell phone, or whatever. Is the hardware important? Oh, absolutely. There's no question about it. But think about the latest app that you just downloaded. Did that come to you in a physical form? Well, not really. First of all, you might have done it while you're out and about. So you downloaded that over the cloud, from the cloud, and it came to you wirelessly. Right? So there was no physical package that arrived for your cell phone. It was a transference of information, of data. And that's what we're talking about when it comes to seed, whether it's human seed, a watermelon seed, or Satan's seed. We're talking about the transmission of information. That's really all that matters. In fact, when you look at reproduction, a man's seed, a sperm, it has a flagellum on it. That's the rocket pack, all right? And then it has, of course, the head. That's the space shuttle. But then it has its payload, and the payload is just some chromosomes inside. Inside the chromosomes are genes, inside the genes are DNA, inside DNA, the nucleic acids, and this part that you can't actually see, you can't touch, is the information. And information is a non-material entity, according to Dr. Werner Gitt, who wrote "In the Beginning Was Information." So it's the non-material entity. It's this non-physical, non-material, or immaterial form that we're looking at. So when I look at Genesis 3:15, that's what I'm understanding. is the information that makes him who he is. And I have information that makes me who I am. It goes beyond my fingers and my toes and my hair, though all of those contain that information. But it's the information that's the sum total of me, called my genome. And that information, if you were able to, reduce me down just to my information, you probably could make a clone of me. It wouldn't be the same me, of course. But I believe that when I die, that God is going to take, the genome called Doug Hamp. He's going to take that, and he's going to then eventually put it into a new body so that it's still me. That kind of matters to me. If it's just a clone of me, goodness, why am I wasting all this time? I could just, go out, eat, drink, and be merry, right? Because if this is all there is and my clone gets to enjoy the next life, I'm really wasting my time. But if it's really me, I get to be part of that kingdom, but in a new body, then that's going to be pretty amazing. I think the movie Avatar actually came pretty close to giving us a picture of what that might look like. In the movie, I forget the main character's name, but in the movie, he was able, the main character there, his legs didn't work, but he was able to go into some kind of he laid down in a bed, and then however this machine worked, it was able to take, his soul, for lack of a better word. It was able to extract that from him, his life force, let's call it that, his essence. And it was able to put it into a new body, the avatar. And he liked that avatar better than he did his own body. I think that's kind of what we're talking about, whatever that may be. I believe that information has a big part to play in that. That it's, we're somehow reducible. This soul may be all the sum total of our data, the sum total of our DNA. Again, not just the hardware. I'm not just talking about our fingers and our toes and all that, though it's a fully integrated system as I see it. But that will be transferred into a new body, is what we're talking about.